Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tionCrochet.com and yarncraftsandcoffee.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple ear warmer worked in half double crochet stitches and one big rectangle. This is part of my mystery ear warmer crochet along that I'm hosting here in 2024 on my Cre8tion Crochet blog. You're going to find the information for that crochet along linked down in the description box below, as well as links to other ear warmer tutorials. This one is extra special. This is my very first ear warmer that I've worked in lightweight number 3 yarn. All my other ear warmer tutorials are worked in at least worsted weight yarn, but I know a lot of you have said that you have lightweight number 3 yarn in your stash. That's what you like to use, so I want to go ahead and have instructions for that as well. So throughout the whole entire crochet along, you're going to find instructions for lightweight yarn and worsted weight yarn. This yarn that I've used here is called Araucania Hawasco Kettle Dyed Yarn. That yarn comes in different weights, so this is the DK weight. It's a wool blend, and I went with that because wool is a little bit cozier and keeps you a little bit warmer, and especially helps to protect against the wind. If you're allergic to wool, but you still want to do an animal fiber, then I recommend something with alpaca in it. If your favorite yarn is an acrylic yarn, then that will work great too. Feel free to pick your favorite yarn out of your stash and work up this ear warmer in that. The only one I'm not going to recommend is going to be 100% cotton, and that's just because it doesn't have an extra fiber within it to help it bounce back and retain its shape. I'm going to pop the links to this yarn and some alternatives down in the description box below. And tiny plug here real quick, I do have a yarn shop called Yarn Crafts and Coffee, where I do sell this yarn and some of the other ones that I'm going to link to. So I would love if you would pop over for a visit. You're also going to find crochet hooks, notions, some boutique items like coffee mugs, and I also have free printables on that blog. If you're local to Central Florida, our shop is located inside America's Antique Mall in Melbourne, Florida. So together with this lightweight yarn, you're going to want to have a G6 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. Gauge is not terribly essential in this, but you're going to want to have a soft tape measure handy. This way you can measure the ear warmer as you go. I know that a lot of us don't like to do swatches, so this is going to be a rectangle worked in shorter rows for the entire length, which makes it really easy to measure as you go, and also more beginner friendly. I recommend before getting started that you measure your head or the head of the recipient for the ear warmer. That way you can get the correct size, but I am going to have instructions for average sizes of toddler, child, adult small, and adult large. If you do measure around, it's around your entire head, just above the eyebrows. So after you work about 8 rows, I would recommend measuring the width from one end all the way across to the other. This is going to be the finished height of your ear warmer. So if this is not the correct size that you want, you can go ahead and rework it with less stitches for a thinner band, any number of stitches, there is no multiple, or more stitches for a wider band. You're going to work in rows all the way up until you get to a length that is 2 to 2.5 inches smaller than your head circumference. Because we're working lengthwise and that's how it's going to stretch, it's going to have more stretch to it. So 2.5 inches will give you a really cozy hug on your ear warmer. If you like something a little bit looser, you can go with the 2 inches. Before you fasten off, you can try on the ear warmer and see if you like how it fits. You can always remove rows or add rows at that point if you need to. But the tape measure just makes it so much easier. This ear warmer right here is just joined together here, and it's like a simple tube. But if you want to try some different joins, I am going to be showing you how to do a pull loop through join. So I don't like to hand sew very much. This is going to allow me to work the last row while joining to the first row. If you prefer a different join method, feel free to use whatever is your favorite method, but I am going to show this technique. The other finishing techniques are going to be shown on my worsted weight versions. So here is a cinched finish and a cinched finish with yarn wrapping around it. So you create the same basic tube and then you add in these details. This one right here is a twisted join, so this one you actually do not join the tube, but you work this twisted technique here to finish off. If you want to get a Mobius twist, this is just one simple twist before joining your tube. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a slip knot, so I've pulled the yarn over my fingers here. I'm going to wrap it around my index finger 2 times and then hold tension down here with my thumb and my middle finger. Pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the one on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Grab my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger and pull it off. I'll hold the working yarn in my right hand, short tail in my left. I'm going to pull that so this knot goes to normal tension. We're going to begin with a chain. To chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Each time we do that, we get one of these V shapes. 1, 2, 3 chains. We don't count the loop that's on our hook. I'm going to go ahead and put up a chart that shows how many chains you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working. Now that we have our chain complete, we're going to half double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. Again, we don't count the loop that's on our hook. 1, 2, 3 chains. In the center of that chain, we're going to work our first half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Right now we have 3 half double crochets complete that we've worked together. You can look to the top of those and see that V shape there. That's how you can count them really easily. Over here where we started, we skipped a couple chains and worked into the 3rd one. Those skipped chains there are also going to count as a stitch. So even though we worked 3 half double crochets, we add that as a stitch and we have 4 stitches in total. Continue half double crocheting into each chain all the way across to the end. Here I've reached the end and I have all my stitches complete. The total amount of stitches that you're going to have for this row is going to be 1 less than what you started with when you chained. For row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to half double crochet into this very first stitch and each stitch all the way across. Yarn over, insert your hook right into the center of that stitch, picking up both loops of the V shape at the top. Then complete your half double crochet. And continue half double crocheting into each stitch. At the end, we are going to work our last stitch into that beginning chain that we skipped. So once I get there, we'll do that together. Here at the end, it looks like we've completed our row, but we actually have 1 more stitch left to work into, and that's going to be the beginning chain, where we skipped those 2 stitches and worked into the 3rd one. So the very next stitch that you're going to see here is a chain, and you're going to see the back bump there from the back of the chain. Then right underneath that is going to be the 2nd chain, and the 3rd chain is where that first half double crochet is worked. So that first chain there, the next stitch that's available to work into, that's where we're going to half double crochet. So you're going to insert right into the center of that chain and complete your half double crochet. And now row 2 is complete. And the shaping is off a little bit right here, but as you continue working, that's going to even out. All the remaining rows are going to be worked the same. You're going to start with a chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to half double crochet into that very first stitch and half double crochet into each stitch all the way across. When you get to the end, you'll work into a half double crochet the same as all the rest of the stitches. And for all these rows, you're going to have the same number of stitches that you had here in row 1. which is just 1 stitch less than the number of chains that you created. I have 5 rows complete here. To count your rows, you're going to look for the texture to differentiate between them. Down here at the bottom, the stitches look prettier and more defined. That's going to be the right side or the front side. Above that, for row 2, the stitches are more textured, they're less defined. That's going to be the wrong side or the back side. Above that, you'll see the pretty side again, and above that, you'll see the textured side. You'll use this to help you with counting the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or the further I get, I count by 2s, and I just look for that raised up textured row, and I'll count 2, 4, 6, and so on. After you get about 4 to 6 rows complete, that's going to be the finished width of your ear warmer. So you can take your soft tape measure, you can measure the width from the edge of the left side all the way across to the edge of the right side up here at the top. So if you wanted a thinner ear warmer, you would work less chains and less stitches. And if you wanted a thicker band, then you would work more chains and more stitches. So if you wanted to take this out and rework it, you'll just want to make sure you work 4 to 6 rows so that you can get an accurate width measurement. I'm going to be showing you how to join using a technique called pull loop through, and that involves working the final row as you're joining to the beginning. So I'm going to put up a chart that's going to show how many rows in total you're going to need depending on the size that you're working, and it's going to have 2 different numbers. So it will say with pull loop through method and it will say with other method. So if you don't want to do this pull loop through technique, then you can work all the rows up and then join using a different method like a whip stitch or a mattress stitch, whatever your preferred joining method is. I don't really enjoy hand sewing, so I use the pull loop through method so that I can crochet the ends together and then just weave in my ends after. Now that we have all our rows complete, again, if you're going to do the pull loop through method with me, then you're 1 row short. But if you're going to whip stitch or mattress stitch or use another join method, then you have added that extra row. You're going to want to lay this out flat and measure from the bottom edge all the way across to the top edge, and make sure that this is long enough before you continue, because you can always add extra rows here, or if it's too long, you can take rows out. But I recommend you go ahead and measure now, make sure you're in the right ballpark. If you still need to add that extra row to complete it for the pull loop through join, just take that into consideration. But if you're not measuring correct now, then the finished ear warmer is not going to fit correctly. I am going to be turning when I start this next row, so I'm going to flip it upside down. And then you're going to find the center and you're going to fold it in and bring that other edge together. I do like to match up the ends, so here you can see that that's the right side. When I flip this over, it's also the right side, but when I work that last row in here to join it, it'll be from the wrong side, so it will alternate that pattern in there and complete it. This way, as you're wearing it, it looks seamless. To work the last row so that we can do the pull loop through join, I'm going to start with the chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to turn the entire ear warmer around, half double crochet as normal into this very first stitch, pull up a loop so I don't lose it. I like to hold on to that in between my fingers. Then I'll pull my hook out and go into the very first stitch that's here. And you want to remember that the 2 layers are coming together in this manner, so that's how you want to join the 2 layers as well. So I'm working into the top here, which is the outside part, the top of that very first stitch that's connected to my beginning tail end. And that goes from that outside layer to the inside of it. Then I'm going to reinsert my hook into that loop, pull it down to normal tension, and then pull it through that stitch. And now the two layers here are connected by this stitch. So then I'll go into the very next stitch of my current row, half double crochet as normal, pull up on that loop, hold on to it in between my fingers and pull it off my hook. Then I'll go into the very next stitch on that other layer. Again, we want to join it just as it's laying here. So through the top layer into that next stitch, and then pick up the loop on my hook, bring it down to normal tension, and pull it through the stitch. So when you're looking at it, you're just working along there as it naturally lays together. So I've removed the hook from this stitch here, and I'm just going into that very next stitch right in the center of it from that outside layer into the center. Then I'll grab that loop back on my hook, pull it down to normal tension, and pull it through. Half double crochet as normal into the next stitch, pull up the loop, hold on to it, pull the hook out, go into the very next stitch on that second layer, put the loop back on it, pull it down to normal tension, pull it through. And you can see that it has this little twisted join here. I really like that little detail. And you're just going to go ahead and continue working all the way down to complete this row. And now I'm going to go ahead and fasten off with a tail end long enough here that I can comfortably weave in. Pull up on this last loop to break it, and then I'll grab my tapestry needle. And now I'm going to weave this in on the inside. That's going to be the back side of my ear warmer. If you like the look of the other side where the join is, then just weave your ends in here on this side. The other rows look exactly the same, but the join does look a little bit different depending on the side that you're looking at. So just weave in on whichever one you want to be the back side. Since I'm going to do it as the inside, I'm going to come here, tighten this up. I'm going to bring my needle here into the very last stitch on that left side, right in the center on the edge from this front side to the back, and pull through. That's going to create one leg here. Then I'm going to come from the back side into that very last stitch here on the right on the edge, from the back to the front, and pull through. That's going to create the other leg, and you're going to see that's going to match the other rows here. Now I'll take it back through that stitch on the left one more time. Give it a tug. You want it to mimic the rest of the stitches, but you don't want it to be too tight that it distorts your fabric. You want it to lay naturally. Then I'll flip to the back. Because we need this ear warmer to stretch horizontally to fit our head, we want to make sure that we're weaving in vertically into the rows. I always like to break my stitch in half when I enter and exit instead of picking up the whole entire thing. This is going to help capture my yarn better. Then we'll just run it up through several stitches. and then here at the end, breaking that last stitch in half. Hold on to the fabric in between my fingers, pull it through, give it a tug, then go back. Use your fingers to manipulate the fabric if you need to. If your fabric has bunched up, you want it to lay naturally. Rotate this, insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, run up through several of the same stitches, breaking the last stitch in half when you exit. Hold on in between your fingers, pull the needle through, give it a tug, use your fingers to manipulate the fabric if you need to. Now I like to do 3 passes, that's my magic number. If you feel comfortable after 2, you can go ahead and fasten off. If you feel like you need to work a 4th one, you can go ahead and do that too. Now here in the center, it looks like the stitches have pulled apart a little bit, so if I go straight up, you're going to see a lot of my needle there. So I'm just going to wrap it around the stitch right underneath, and then continue upward. Just so that it catches a little bit better in there. And then fasten off. Then you'll come to the other side where your initial tail end is, and you'll do the same exact thing, making sure to weave in on the same side, as well as do it vertically the same way as we just did, so you don't prohibit any of the stretch width-wise. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, I would appreciate if you would smash that like button to let YouTube know that you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel while you're there. Don't forget to pop down into the description box below to grab the link to the crochet along, get all the details and links to all the tutorials there. In the description box, you'll also find links to other ear warmer patterns. I'll catch you guys next time.